Do we have a must-win game on our hands for the Mountaineers as they travel to Orlando for a big-time matchup with the UCF Knights, who find themselves on the bubble? West Virginia is trying to get on the bubble, get relevant in that conversation, and a win on Saturday night is going to go a long way toward making that happen. We got you covered here. We're going to talk about this on Mountaineer Moment, episode 147. Is it a must-win for the West Virginia Mountaineers as they head to Orlando? This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody, to episode 147 of Mountaineer Moment. My name's Troy, and this is your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. Like we do all throughout basketball season, we give you game previews, game recaps for every single Mountaineer basketball game. So why wouldn't you subscribe to this channel, giving you all that you need to know, covering the West Virginia Mountaineers? We're available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Hit that subscribe button for us and be in the know when we have new content coming your way. So the episode previous to this one was actually the game preview for West Virginia and UCF that we've grown accustomed to doing here on Mountaineer Moment. But as I mentioned in that episode, and if you haven't checked out that episode after this one, go watch that one. But here on episode 147, we're continuing the conversation as part of this game preview because this game against UCF on Saturday in Orlando is just massive. Just absolutely massive. And on this episode, we're going to talk about just how big it is and how great the NCAA Tournament implications are as we're a month away from March Madness and Selection Sunday. We're going to take a look around the Big 12, another really, really big matchup on Saturday with tournament implications as well. We're going to go just keys to victory straight up for West Virginia. How can they get it done on Saturday? How can they bolster their resume and live to see another day? And then we'll end with just some big picture stuff for West Virginia. So let me start with just defining and defending this point that this is a really, really big game. And full disclosure, I am going to go on record here saying that this is a must-win game. Obviously, West Virginia goes and wins the conference tournament. It doesn't matter. But, this is a must-win. Because there's been opportunities that West Virginia has squandered, most recently the game against Texas Tech at home on Sunday. Now you get a Saturday matchup against a team that's sliding just a little bit. They've lost 2 in a row. They're on the bubble. You're trying to get on the bubble. What better way to bring your name front and center into that bubble conversation than by winning against a UCF team that's 6-5 in conference, just as you are, to get a leg up on them, to get to 7-5 in conference. Because like I said in that previous episode, and it's super obvious, but think about it. There's several teams that are listed on the tournament bubble. Right now, the Big 12 has 7 teams that are in, according to ESPN's Joe Lunardi, that are safely in. Then you got UCF, who's on the right side of the bubble, according to Lunardi. Then you got TCU, who's listed as his first team out. A lot of teams have TCU, or a lot of guys have TCU now in the field because of that massive win they got at home against Iowa State. Then you've got Oklahoma State, who's part of that next 4 out. Then you got West Virginia, and somehow, some way, Baylor is still kind of in the conversation. At least according to Lunardi, I disagree with that, so we won't even treat them like a bubble team. Right now, they're 3-9 in conference. At some point, you got to get them out of that conversation. So I'm going to do that myself right here. So there's 7 teams that are in, according to what I just said. Then you've got a logjam of teams fighting for it. UCF, West Virginia, TCU, Oklahoma State. UCF and West Virginia are 6-5. TCU's 5-6. Oklahoma State's 4-7, but they're 16-8 overall. West Virginia, 4 of their last 7 games of the season are against those 3 teams. So you want to get in, win those games. Right? And I'm not going to go on record to say, if you win those 4, you're in. It doesn't matter what you do with the rest of the season, because that would still only put you at 19 wins. And obviously, what those other teams do with the rest of their games matters as well. But, West Virginia is 6-5 with 7 games remaining in conference. Like, at some point, if you're that level above 500 in the Big 12 and one of those teams doesn't just like go unbeaten down the stretch, because like if you get to 11-7, if you go 5-2 down the stretch with big wins over those teams, you get to win number 20, you're 11-7. If there's a chance for one of those 4 teams to be in, wouldn't you think it's you? I would. Just saying. Right? And the less wins you got, the more likely you're on the bubble. Or maybe completely off the bubble and on the negative, bubble burst. Because, just like there's 7 opportunities to win games, there's 7 opportunities to lose games. I don't care who you're playing. You're playing 4 teams that are on the bubble. You're playing, against the ranked BYU team that's trended downward just a little bit. You got a game against Kansas State on the road. You got a game against Utah at home following this matchup with UCF. So this game against the Knights has major implications. It's a big game, and I'm going to call it a must-win for West Virginia. Because, again, you play all 3 of those bubble teams. You play them 4 times, UCF twice. You get them on the road and at home. The other 2 are on the road, and that's not a comforting thing. You're going to have to win 1 or 2 or 3 on the road down the stretch. And so let's start now. Let's not put ourselves in a hole. Let's not even touch 500 in conference play. Let's keep trending upward. Get to 7-5. Play against a 1-10 Utah team at home following that. Get to 8-5, right? Like you can see the path for the Mountaineers. And if you're sitting here watching thinking, oh, they're not in, they're not going to make it, maybe the NIT, should they even play in that? Pump the brakes. West Virginia, there is a path. There just is. It might be uphill battle. It might be the fact that they got a lot of work to do, but the opportunities are there, and you get to go against teams that you have an opportunity to beat out for maybe that last spot. Because if there's 7 locks in the Big 12, and Lenardi's got all these teams in the Big 12 fighting on the bubble, is it 1 going to get in? Is it 2 going to get in? I don't think it's going to be 3 of these teams getting in. I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to think it's going to be 2 at this point. So is it going to be UCF, TCU, Oklahoma State, or West Virginia? Go beat those teams and prove it as to why it should be you. That's all we'll say on that. Now, I mentioned around the Big 12, there's another big game on Saturday against 2 of those teams between 2 of those teams that are, in this conversation that are playing against each other at noon on ESPN2. TCU, 15-9, 5-6, 16-8, 4-7. Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State in Stillwater. That's a big-time matchup at noon with, again, major implications. Oklahoma State could fall to 4-8 in conference. TCU could fall to 5-7. Major game. Just as big as West Virginia UCF, with 2 teams that are 6-5 in conference and looking to stay above 500. Major game. Keep an eye on that one ahead of West Virginia's soon-to-be matchups with those 2 teams. As far as this game is concerned, between West Virginia and UCF, I mean, there are several keys that I'm going to give you here, and I kind of touched on specifically one of them in that game preview that you can go check out if you haven't seen it already. But UCF statistically does not do a good job defending against 2-point field goal attempts. I'm trying to pull up the number here. There it is. So UCF's allowing opponents to make over 54% of their shots inside the arc. That ranks them 281st nationally. 281st. That's not good, right? So what that tells you is that opponents are getting high percentage looks against this UCF defense inside the arc. Interestingly enough, West Virginia is coming off a game against Texas Tech in which they couldn't shoot the ball from the three-point line, from the charity stripe, 2 for 22, 13 for 23. just a nightmare. They only lost by 7 somehow. And I'm here to tell you it's because of the bigs. Brennan Lorient was brilliant. One of, if not his best games as a Mountaineer, especially considering he's, guarding a little bit here and there. Guarding JT Toppin, one of the premier bigs in the league and in the country, who went for 22 points and 9 boards, though. Like, he had his fair share of struggles, man. I'm here to tell you. West Virginia flustered him a little bit. He's just really, really good. Now, Belo against Tech in 33 minutes had 21 points, 10 of 14 from the floor. He had a couple, late, especially a couple beautiful runners, off the glass that he just put in. Just great touch. And he just was really, really good. 10 for 14, so efficient. But he wasn't alone. And it wasn't Harlan Obioha's, best game of the season by any means. But sometimes Harlan Obioha can get toward or hover around a double-double. And he did that against Tech. 9 points, 7 boards in 27 minutes. He got to the free throw line, made only 3 of 7. Right? We'd love to see that improve, but in 27 minutes, he had 9.7 boards, 3 of 3 from the field. So these guys combined on the interior, you can get to where I'm getting at. These guys combined went 13 for 17 against the Texas Tech interior. Belo, he was 10 for 14, and he was 0 for 2 from 3. So he was 10 for 12 inside the arc. So 13 for 16 combined, Belo and Harlan Obioha inside the 3-point arc against Texas Tech, who's a better defensive team than UCF is. UCF ranks, again, what I say, 281st nationally and in opponent field goal percentage inside the 3-point line. So my first key to victory is let those two, Obioha and Belo, let them build off of the performance that they just had. Right? Am I expecting 13 for 16 again or whatever? I don't know, but Belo was really good, man. He was really good, and he's not going up against JT Toppin on Saturday. He's just not. Harlan Obioha, be a factor, be a force, get those UCF bigs in foul trouble, play with swagger, play with aggression, and hover around that double-double, right? And I'll feel more comfortable about this game if those two guys play big, because the opportunities are going to be there on the interior, according to statistics. Just saying. Second key, and it's something we mentioned too in that previous episode, but not as a key to victory, but just as a talking point. The offensive glass is going to be huge. So again, Obioha and Belo stepping it up there, because UCF does do a good job on the offensive glass, getting second chance opportunities for themselves, and they limit second chance opportunities for opponents, ranking the top 3 in the Big 12 in both of those departments. The West Virginia doesn't allow a whole lot of offensive rebounds. They actually lead the Big 12 in fewest offensive rebounds allowed. So that's a stat category to look for in this matchup. Keep them off the glass. Crash the glass yourselves. Get second chance points. Get to the free throw line. Make your free throws this time, and get the job done. And then the last point I'll bring up, and we've gone this far into it without mentioning the shot making of Honor Huff and Trayson Eaglestaff. At some point, man, those guys just got to break loose and go off. One of them or both of them. It seems like they really don't click it both in the same game. Honor Huff was 0 for 6 from 3 against Texas Tech. They did a tremendous job on him, defending him. McCaslin, it was perfect. He was 0 for 8 from the field, made 6 free throws. And that's 2 out of the last 3 games where he's really struggled, and both of those were at home. He was 1 for 9 against Baylor from 3-point land, 1 for 13 overall, 0 for 8 against Texas Tech, and sandwiched in between was 5 for 11 against Cincinnati, where he scored all 16 in the second half. So Honor Huff, aside from 1 half against Cincinnati, has really struggled over the last 3 games. And West Virginia, as good as Belo was against Tech, as good as Obioha was, and, Floyd doing some things at times, even, not just against Tech, but throughout the season. Chance Moore doing things, Amir Jenkins doing things, Eaglestaff doing things. This team really needs a good Honor Huff. Their last 2 losses come on games that were relatively close, and Honor Huff combined to go 1 for 21 from the field. So, just saying. right? That just shows how important he is. He went 5 for 11, 16 points in the second half, come back against Cincinnati, and you win that game. He went 5 for 15, including 5 made threes, 41% against K-State. You won that game. Honor Huff is so important. You got to find a way for him to get looks, and I get that the defenses are so aware of those numbers I just read and how important he is, but, like, man, you got to see something fall for Honor Huff, and certainly Eagle staff too, but there's been games where Honor Huff has been so brilliant we didn't need Eagle staff to do a whole lot that we've won. Not saying that that's the case of what we're hoping for, or even what needs to happen against UCF on the road, but Honor Huff needs to be Honor Huff, and he needs to bounce back. Confident shooter, confident guy, confident player, great work ethic, great smile, great everything. Love the kid. We need him. We need him. This game is huge. And so those are my keys to victory for West Virginia. On the interior, the big guys cleaning it up on the glass and scoring at a high rate. And then Honor Huff finding a way, man, get going, help this team, and insert yourself into that NCAA tournament conversation. And if you want to do that, again, big picture for West Virginia, 7 games to go, 4 opportunities against teams that are on the bubble. What more could you ask for, man? Heading into conference play after a really down non-conference slate that I'm trying to get over still, and I keep mentioning it feels like every episode, but, there's 7 games to go, and 4 of them are against teams that are in the same seat that you're in right now, man. This is opportunities. And it starts on Saturday against UCF, and I hope that you will join us post-game as we react and analyze West Virginia's performance against UCF. That'll be episode 148, so be on the lookout for that. But as for us here on episode 147 of Mountaineer Moment, we will see you next time. Let's go Mountaineers.